Welcome to UCF Knightline, your source for UCF sports and former player information.
Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the 1148 studios. With me, as always, is...
Well, not always.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Trace Trylko. Hello, everyone. Andrew.
That's funny.
Hi.
I need to come up with something, I guess, else to say there because it sounds kind of dumb every once in a while when I say it and go back on it and say, whatever. Most of the time you're here. Got some stuff going on. This is episode number 72, by the way. It is Spring Has Sprung in Central Florida. We're talking about spring football today. We're going to talk a little bit about a new basketball coach that we've hired. We've actually hired two new basketball coaches, a men's and a women's basketball coach, which is kind of interesting.
No, it is interesting. There's been a lot of hires in a short period of time. What's your take? What's your initial take on the hiring of women's basketball coach Katie Abramson Henderson, Coach Abe, as she's been dubbed?
I don't know a lot about her, but she comes from Albany University and did a good job there, has a good record.
6 seasons at Albany, the Great Danes. I love that name.
Yeah.
Combined 9 American East Conference tournament and regular season titles. Her Albany teams recorded 5 20-win seasons, 5 straight NCAA tournament appearances.
Well, there you go.
Including the program's first bid in 2011, first NCAA tournament victory in 2016.
That's a lot better than what we had.
Yeah. A different level of competition, though, and the mighty UConn is in the American,
right, well,
and they never lose. But I'd say the benchmark for the women's coach is that our neighbors...
To have a winning season?
Well, but our neighbors...
How long has it been since we've had a winning season?
Couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Our neighbors over in Tampa have built a successful top 25 program. Again, challenging with UConn in the league, and UConn in the Final Four. Again, they just don't lose. But South Florida has built a top 25 program, and I think that's a benchmark of comparison, and that's what led to Joy Williams' ouster, is couldn't out-recruit, couldn't out-compete with the Cows, and I think that's this coach's top challenge, is be competitive with the Tampa school.
I guess one of the things is I guess we've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. If we didn't realize that Danny White is serious about winning at UCF, we sure know now. Because he's hiring coaches that somewhat have a proven record of winning, and he's not messing around. He hires obviously who he wants to, because none of these people that he's hired were on anybody's radar.
That's what's funny about these radar and the rumors that you read on the message boards.
Right.
Dawkins came into the message board rumors late, but I don't think anybody mentioned this coach.
I don't either. I don't know. But
not a lot of chatter, obviously, about the women's basketball program.
Right.
But I agree with you. I don't think there's anybody that is close to the program, that follows the program closely, that has not felt that he means business.
Right, and he just, he knows who he wants to hire, I believe, before he... I think he knows what's going on before he does it, because he, like I said, when these names aren't on the radar of everybody, I just think that he has, a list already made up of who he would want if he could get them, and he gets them. So, I mean, maybe he doesn't get exactly who he wants, but he gets, I don't know. It just with as off the wall as some of these hires are, it just out of the blue. Scott Frost was pretty much out of the blue.
Yeah.
Number one. Dawkins was pretty much out of the blue, except, maybe late somebody thought of that, but, whatever. He's a Duke guy, all that stuff. We can talk a little bit more about him as far as that goes.
But overall, you'd say, based on what you've read, thumbs up on the selection of the new women's basketball coach.
Absolutely, yeah.
Time will tell what she is able to accomplish at UCF, and we know how women's sports are in comparison to, say, the men's basketball program, certainly football, but you want what Danny White has spoken about, right?
Yeah.
You want teams that compete for conference titles, as well as the graduation and the success that goes with the student athletes. And I think, again, her challenge is let's get competitive with Tampa as quickly as possible. and there's mighty UConn. What can you do about them? But she's got a tall task in front of her just to get competitive with the rest of the pack in the AAC.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that we're on the right track with both of these hires.
So you're strong on the Johnny Dawkins hire?
I don't know about strong on it, but I would say I don't have a problem with it. I think that, sometimes people don't get things right in their first, head coaching job.
That's fair.
Yeah, Jeff Sharon actually said that in his on his black and gold banner at Johnny Dawkins' Hire Not Sexy But May Last article that he wrote on there. And that was one of the things that he said, which I felt like quoting because I believe that. And it could totally be true. He didn't do the greatest job out there, but there was a lot of things that...
He came from Stanford, but he won 2 NIT titles.
Right.
And who in the UCF fan base wouldn't kill for 2 NIT titles?
Yeah.
Just a postseason appearance would be nice in the short term.
Right. Just to maybe win to maybe win a game in our conference.
Yeah. So the bar is
tournament
our
would be nice. Our conference tournament, yeah. That would be awesome. So yes, the bar is set extremely low right now, unfortunately, but it needs to I think he can get it done. He's got NBA experience. He was the top player in all of college basketball the one year. He got the Wooden Award, or Wooden, I believe. I think it's Wooden Award. Either Wooden or, I don't know. I made that whole graphic thing that I put up on...
I watched that. I don't remember the name of the award.
Yeah, I think it's Wooden. It may be, I don't know, Naismith, Wooden, one of those guys.
Shall I effort that for you? Shall I look
Well, I don't know. I mean, just Google Johnny Dawkins on Wikipedia, and it has it on there. But anyway, that's where I got all my information. Sources. Yeah, but anyway, I think that he's going to do a decent job. He's got NBA experience. He's got NCAA experience. He doesn't have a lot of head coaching experience, but, sometimes it takes a little while. So
a pretty long career in the NBA. 10th overall pick by the San Antonio Spurs. Played for them for a number of years.
He didn't turn out to be that great, though, in the NBA.
Bounced around for a decade, though.
Yeah, he did.
Sixers, then Pistons, but, nearly 10
years. Is the college award that
Naismith.
Oh, the Naismith.
National Player of the Year.
I don't know why I said Wooden. Isn't Wooden like a basketball coach? Legend, yeah.
Legendary coach.
I don't know why I said that.
So you said something about the bar of expectation, being pretty low. Don't you think that Danny White's trying to say that bar needs to be raised across the board in all sports, that there's a demand for excellence? And as we spoke when we did the live show most recently and took some calls, the ongoing backdrop of Big 12 expansion, will they or won't they, you need stronger programs to enter into that league.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for sure. No question. So, yes, definitely.
Even though UCF has gone from the ASUN to Conference USA to the American very competitive, certainly in men's basketball. UCF has not been competitive and certainly wasn't in those last couple of seasons under Donnie Jones. 3 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins in the league. 6, I think, right? Was it 6 that they ended up with? I think he has an opportunity to take some decent players, because I do think Donnie Jones did recruit some good players. I just don't think he was a good game day coach, as the results showed. And it's not inconceivable that a 12-18 mark becomes an 18-12 mark, and that you're in that top 6 of the league just with some better coaching decisions.
I would be happy, and I think most of Knight Nation would be happy with a winning season in basketball. A winning season. More wins than losses.
That's your first-year expectation?
Yeah.
Just you want...
I want a winning season.
I'd like to see a conference postseason victory, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe that would probably come with a winning season, though. A postseason victory in at least our tournament and a winning season.
Johnny Dawkins, only been here a short period of time, has named his first assistant coach.
It's great.
In Kevin Norris, most recently with USC. Also had been at Florida Gulf Coast. So he
USC is a pretty big name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe not horribly huge for basketball, but
past season the Trojans went to the NCAA tournament. Program's first 20-win season since 2009.
Yeah. So he comes from a winning program at least last year. So
and again, to your point on Danny White, bringing in people that while their coaching experiences, may be varied, Scott Frost with his first head coaching job has been a part of winning successful programs. You see with the new women's basketball coach, there's success there. And Dawkins certainly has been successful. My knock on Dawkins and Stanford, certainly from an academic standpoint, is just, a premier university in the nation. So you have a talent pool which you can recruit that also has to be very academically strong. My concern, though, is, I see the upside, the postseason and the NIT. It's just that there seemed to be a gradual slide with him. And again, that's not to suggest that he can't be successful. I think you'd message me, what do you think? And I just went,
I think that's what most people think.
And I think what's the headline on Jeff's story? It's not the sexiest name and pick. Doesn't mean he's not going to be successful here.
Right.
Certainly. But, boy, there are challenges.
I think he probably has a better chance to be successful here, though, than he did at Stanford. Stanford, number one, like you said a little while ago, they have to recruit within that academic standard that they have.
They don't have a lot of wiggle room.
I'm surprised they're good at anything, to be honest with you. I'm surprised they're good at football with that academic standard. But especially basketball.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to deal with in the first place, is the academic standard there with athletes.
And again, you're talking about a Pac-12 with stacked programs,
right,
with Oregon, with a deep run. So it's not like
right,
he's not only dealing with the academic strength of the university, which is by no means a bad thing.
Right.
It just limits perhaps some of the talent that you can bring in. He won't face quite that barrier at UCF, though UCF is strong academically and has performed well.
And there's homegrown talent
metrics
here as well for basketball in Central Florida. So
I think it's interesting. I'm thinking back on your statement about wanting a winning season, and I think of what's in this league in recent national champion in UConn. You have strong, talent-rich legacy programs like Temple in this league. When we did the live show and we took the call, I don't know, it may have been Knight Bengal there, a little shout-out. I'm not sure if it was him, but saying we kind of got passed by SMU and Houston. We were all in the same league, and then they took the bigger steps in basketball in the league. So there's a lot of talent and a lot of competitive teams
and
in the
I'm
league.
sure Johnny Dawkins, when he was looking at coming to UCF, saw what kind of coaches and what kind of talent are in the American in basketball, because it is one of the more premier leagues in basketball. Maybe not this year, but with the UConns and the Memphis.
Was it what it was when it was the Big East? I don't know that anybody's saying that, but I think it's night in and night out. You get competitive games, and if you look at the bottom of the league, of which UCF was a part of that bottom, you had the Tulane, East Carolina, and South Florida. But ahead of that, it's a strong league, night in and night out.
Absolutely, yeah. So I would think that would be, a thing that would make you want to come and coach a team like UCF, especially with a new athletic director like Danny White, who's a basketball guy. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to see money put into this program, and you're going to see, the whole thing get better, from a fan atmosphere to, everything else. Now, speaking of, we mentioned Scott Frost earlier. How things have changed out there in the land of football.
Yeah, back to football.
For UCF. Yeah, but, that's where we're going. Back to football. With the videos that are coming out, with the interviews that they're allowing people to do, Lord have mercy, it has changed, completely out there with the absence of George O'Leary in this program. Danny White lets freshmen, I don't know about freshmen, but he lets underclassmen speak. He lets anybody.
Frost? You mean Frost?
Is that what I said?
You said Danny White. You mean?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Frost.
Yeah. Yes, Frost lets pretty much anybody speak that wants to cameras, to interviews.
Mind you, the freshman limitation is not just a George O'Leary. That happens across the country.
But
it's a difference.
It was seniors only that could talk with O'Leary. which is kind of crazy, actually, because not all of the people that you want talking are the seniors. We saw that a couple times with some of those guys that couldn't get up there and make a whole sentence. It happens. It does, unfortunately. But anyway, he's letting people talk. He's letting coaches talk. They're doing the Athletics Association or the video/audio group that's there doing,
the Rise and Conquer videos that come out.
Yeah,
weekly.
Any of the videos, the social media. I know Chip Fontanazza is a big part of that.
I think they do a good job with the social media.
Yeah,
I love following
it's awesome,
and they put it out all day long.
Yeah,
and
there's
I look
so much of it now. There's so much information. You don't have to go and sit there and watch practice because you're seeing some stuff on those little videos. You have to pay close attention, but you're seeing some stuff.
One of the things I picked up in watching one of the videos was the music blaring at
practice. and the
Different
players.
atmosphere.
Brandon also at UCFsports.com has done an incredible job of being out there and interviewing players and coaches after practice. Can't go and watch practice anymore like we've all talked about, but I haven't had a chance to make it out there and talk to any players yet this year just because my schedule's kind of weird and I sleep during the day and work at night. So I haven't been able to do that. But, he's done a great job. And, yes, all the players talk about how excited they are and how everything has changed and how there's a new fire under everybody and, the music gets everybody excited and it's really fast and, they're just, you can tell that they're excited.
And it's not just big things. It's little things, like we most recently commented on, that their practice uniforms are previous season's game uniforms.
Yeah,
and where did they practice Saturday night? Not on the practice field.
Right.
They practiced in the Bright House.
Right.
And that's a change of pace.
Right. And that, probably needs to be done a little bit more. O'Leary wouldn't let anybody step on that field because he wanted it to be absolutely perfect, at every
365 days a year, that field is used, 6 times? They can use it for
pretty
practice.
Much. Yeah. So, you wouldn't want to practice on it every day. No. There has been some talk, I guess, of I don't know if it's a rumor or how true this is, but there has been some talk of maybe them wanting to replace that grass with turf in the next couple of years. No. And I hope not. Yeah.
Jeez,
I hope not. But that has been the talk.
No, don't do that.
So
play on a natural grass surface.
I hope not, but
golly, no.
I could see where they would want to do it. I could see. It's a little bit faster, number one, as we see how the soccer players struggle that aren't used to playing on it when they come to Citrus Bowl and play the
And it's
the
not
Lions.
the only reason, but I'd point out that the Orlando City Lions had quite a few knee injuries last year.
No, that's absolutely true.
So,
yes, that's absolutely true.
Cause and effect are not on that, and it doesn't mean you can't get injured on grass.
But it has been spoke
of,
and it was not me that brought it up, but it has been spoke of, so we will see what happens with that. There is a rumor out there that they want to do that, so hopefully not. But anyway, all this is so much more exciting. The spring is finally here. We're got some football going on. From one of those clips the other day, one person that I did want to mention that I saw as a running back running through a hole and making, just freaking hammering somebody when he went through the hole was Michael Willett. He's a redshirt junior running back, 37. If there's one of those videos that it's out there on Facebook or other social media from UCF, I think it's from practice last night, and he just hammers one of the corners or linebackers and just runs right over him. It was beautiful. So that was the highlight of those videos from last night. The other highlight, though, which is really cool, and this is another thing that Scott Frost doesn't know any of these guys, but he's having all the players, he's welcoming all the players back.
Who's who out on Saturday night? Out at Bright House for the open practice.
Justin Tukes, Joey Grant, Justin McCray, and the other McCray was there too. And Blake. We're all there. Blake Bortles. We're all out there. There was a picture of those guys. That's awesome for those guys to be invited to a practice, or it seems like they've been around quite a bit. The McCrays are here, now in in Orlando with the Predators anyway. So,
and if I may skip to that, former offensive lineman Jordan McRae, he scored
a pass, right?
A 4-yard touchdown reception for the Predators in their season-opening 76-25 route at rival Tampa Bay. He caught a touchdown.
I actually would have loved to see. I'm going to try to see if I can find a clip of that because that's freaking awesome.
That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, for a big guy like that to be catching a pass, does that happen in arena football?
You know, arena football is kind of wacky-do.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, anybody can catch a pass.
Yeah, but that's cool. I like that.
I wonder if a quarterback has ever thrown himself a pass and scored a touchdown in
arena football.
I bet it's happened, actually, because, can you throw it and bounce it off the net back to yourself?
The net's in play.
Yeah.
Yeah, the net's in play.
So why not?
I don't know. If
I want to see if that's ever happened.
Crack research right there.
That would be cool, yeah. Throw it into the net on purpose, bounce it back, and catch it and run in for the touchdown. That'd be awesome.
That would be fun. Yeah. So do you feel that there is, with less than 2 weeks to go until the spring game, the festival, do you feel there's buzz around this?
Oh, absolutely.
What would you expect the attendance to be? And, we were there last year. It was meager, to say the least. And let me throw in something here. That Florida State, because of some work that's being done at their stadium in Tallahassee, are playing their spring game in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl. And they've sold more than 30,000 tickets.
Right. It's not the same day or anything, is it?
No. I don't know the date. But what do you think? How would you view the success of the nighttime spring game?
With all the buzz that's going, I'm going to say 5,000 to 10,000 people are going to show up for this.
And certainly that's far more than may have ever been to a spring game. And certainly more than last year.
It's a 5. Yes, I'm sorry. That's kind of a wide guess. But
slightly.
I will say 5 being the minimum, 10 being my maximum. It may be 20. You never know. Well, it could be.
They've been
there's huge
collecting
buzz.
The reservations on Memory Mall like they would for a regular game day. So it seems, they've added the concerts and the games and all that stuff. They seem to be treating it like it's a regular game day experience in that.
I'm telling you, Danny White and Scott Frost to this university are doing wonders already. I mean, you would have never seen anything like this. You would have never, even if Danny White was here with George O'Leary as the head coach, you would have never seen anything like this ever.
Because
he wouldn't have allowed it.
We never saw
it. Yeah, he would have never allowed it. He would have. Oh no, it's about running drills. That's my George O'Leary.
Is that
voice.
your George O'Leary?
Yeah.
Did you catch the note I sent to you that he was the keynote speaker at Georgia Southern last night?
I'm sure
Tyson
that was
Summers.
I'm sure
they're ready to charge through.
I'm sure
the
that
wall.
was exciting and very.
You think the players are ready to just go through a wall now for Tyson Summers?
Banging their heads against the wall, probably. Yeah, they're like, really, who's this old guy? That's probably what they were saying. Who is this old guy?
Who are you? Weren't
you just fired? Oh, I'm sorry. He stepped down. Anyway, good riddance.
He's still a consultant.
Maybe
he consulted about this whole night.
I don't buy it.
No, you don't think so?
I don't buy it. I don't think that that's true anyway.
So 5,000 to 10,000. As long as there's good buzz, people have a good time. That's what matters, right?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be out there. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. It's in like 3 weeks, right?
2
weeks.
Less than 2.
Whew.
Less than 2.
Well, I hope I have time to make it then. No, I already have my my little tickets and all that. I will be sitting where my assigned season tickets are if you want to find me. Unless we're going together. I don't know if you're coming with us.
Or were you talking to me, you? Or were you telling the folks at home?
Anybody.
Do you want to share your location?
I'm looking at you, but no. There's certain people that know where I'm at. And they're more than welcome to come by. They always can find us in the tailgating area. I'm in lot D1.
You can go anywhere with this ticket?
Yeah.
Let's go to the Tiki Bar.
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, I think
there's a little humor there.
Pretty sure they're selling that ticket as there was a $50 ticket or something that you could buy and whatever. I'm not paying any extra to go to a spring game.
No.
Personally.
How much do you think we're going to see?
I think we're going to see a good, just a little splash of what is going on. I don't think that you're going to see anything special. You're going to see the difference, though, I think. You're going to see the speed. mean, they're not gonna give any secrets away on the spring game. Trust me.
You think Scott Frost and Danny White, when we're praising them for some marketing savvy, view this as a nice commercial to keep the buzz going all summer long?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's going to
give us enough that we're going to be excited and can chew on the podcast and on the message boards.
I think the media department there, though, is going to keep the buzz going as well, though, because they've done such an incredible job. I believe that they keep the buzz going over the summer, because there's stuff that goes on during the summer as well. There is summer, training that goes on. So
what are you going to be looking for? How they move, the speed, some tempo changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think more than anything with the spring game, you can just see what kind of a spring is in everyone's step. You can see, maybe where a couple people line up a little bit different than, because there's some people that don't listen to any of this stuff and don't follow anything. UCFsports.com. They may follow on Twitter or Facebook, but they don't pay money to go on message boards, and probably don't even, download a podcast that are going to be there that are excited, you know what I'm saying? And don't even, don't really know what to expect, but they're going to see a difference.
So I think it's a 2-hour commercial.
Yeah.
That's going to allow them to continue to create buzz, and that we're going to see just enough glimpses of something that we're going to be excited about it.
I'm wondering, will we see a debut of a uniform for a spring game? Maybe, possibly. It's rumored that there are multiple uniforms, and there was some news of a deal with Nike, a new refreshed deal with Nike that came out this last week. And if they're wearing if they're practicing in our former game day uniforms, that says a lot to me. That says a lot.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw in that.
Because those are expensive.
The discussion about this that Brandon initiated on UCFsports.com, Brandon Helwig. What I thought was interesting with a little nugget about the jerseys is that he's heard, there's talk, that the gold will more resemble the gold you'd see in the New Orleans Saints uniform.
And it should have.
I don't know what we call our gold.
Pea yellow. Yeah. It should have all along been that.
I like how we, for years and years, told people that gold was in fact yellow or canary or cream.
Right, yeah.
It was never gold. But it'd be interesting if that gold more closely resembles the gold of the New Orleans Saints that we're very accustomed to, and that the Saints have been with gold for 40 years or as long as the franchise. They've always had gold.
Yeah.
Not cream or canary or yellow.
Yeah, I wish that they could, make like almost a sparkly gold somehow, and
a little shine to it,
like a
little sparkle,
not like
glitter.
You don't want it like bedazzled or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I got to tell you,
don't want it to look like the cheerleaders' uniforms.
In all the podcasts I've done with you, I've never thought I'd hear you use the word bedazzled.
Well, I think it's kind of funny.
Thrown me off
actually.
with that. Yes,
I think it's kind of funny, but you don't want it to look like the cheerleaders' uniforms, but. Or the dancers, they come out with those gold little short dresses. You don't want the jerseys to look like that. But if they had some kind of not a monotone gold, if they had some kind of a little, like, I don't know, a metallic look or something.
I think we need a new open for the fashion segment that we're adding to the podcast.
And if you send us your UCF, merchandise, we will bedazzle it for you and send it back.
Oh my goodness, bedazzle! You've used the word twice now. There was no off mic bet about working the word bedazzle into.
We should do that sometime. Kind of like on that Super Troopers movie. Have you ever seen that? You haven't? Oh my God!
I don't remember.
I can't believe you haven't seen Super Troopers.
What's Super Troopers?
It was a movie that came out.
Starship Troopers?
No. It was cops. It was these highway patrol guys, and they were like totally. They'd see how many times they could say meow while they were talking to somebody when they pulled them over.
When I was in local television news for a number of years, we would sometimes have that challenge when I was anchoring between the weather guy, the sports guy, and me, and I always lost because there would always be a way that the weather person or the sports person could work in something like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Right. Yeah.
The news guy can never say 2 are dead. Supercalifragilistic. You can never. There was never. I never had a good way of doing it.
That's
the
funny.
sports guy, the weather guy, make up words. I like that. Let's see if we can identify the word that we need to work on into the podcast.
We should do that.
I like that. I like that challenge.
All right, what else do we have to talk about here?
Well, before we move on,
along.
I have?
No, we.
Oh, we. Houston Texans re-signed cornerback A.J. Bowie.
That's good.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It's awesome. We're going to have an interview with a guy from baseball coming up here very soon.
Yeah, the
Matthew
Americans.
Saunders.
We've had him before.
Us.
He gave us a preview of baseball. The Knights have begun American play, both baseball and softball. Baseball, junior right-hander Robbie Howell pitched 8 innings, moved to 6-0. The Knights beat Memphis 9-2 Saturday. He is tied, by the way, for first nationally in wins. As we record, the Sunday game has not yet happened. UCF 16-13 on the season, 1-1 in the American. This coming week, just one home game, April 5 against Florida Atlantic. They're ranked top 20, Florida Atlantic, the Owls are. And then back on the road in American play for a weekend series at Houston. So they split the first 2 games with the Sunday game forthcoming. But that, if UCF wants to be taken seriously in the American, okay, and they were projected to be 6th out of 8 participating teams, you've got to win 2 out of 3 on the road. You cannot come out of that road series 1-2 with that very challenging series with Houston next weekend. You know, we talked about the American being strong in basketball. 7th, 8th strongest league. Baseball, they're the 3rd in RPI. So It's a strong league. You have a number of good programs. East Carolina's top 20 ranked. Houston, number of strong programs.
And
UCF cannot go 1-2.
When was the last time we had a winning season in baseball?
Well, last year they were winning season, weren't they?
Did they have a winning season?
Like 31-28 or something like that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
by 2 games.
Not
whatever.
much. And they're just...
I think it needs to get a lot better than that. And I made a tweet the other day after the conference opener. I said, Rooney, you're next.
I would say, and we can ask the Central Florida Future beat writer about hot seat in his opinion, but you'd certainly
he has to
have
be.
to
I believe has to be on the hot seat.
I think Danny White would be looking at what they do in the American and what they do in the postseason tournament, but it's not looking like there's NCAA tournament postseason play.
Yeah.
2 things I mentioned when I was last out at Jay Bergman Field watching the Knights play that are different this year. One of the things that head coach Terry Rooney brought to the program some 8 years ago, raising the bar of expectation, and I like that, was on the road to Omaha, right, where the College World Series is played. There used to be that talk all the time. Work it into social media, you'd see signage. Yeah, they don't mention that anymore. I think it's on the road to Oviedo. And depending on how good the year is, it could be on the road to Ocala. It could be on the road to Okeechobee. But I think they've dropped the pretty much the references to Omaha. The other thing, right field wall used to list all of UCF's postseason appearances on a banner.
Longer?
No, that's down.
Really?
Yeah, that banner's down.
Because they haven't gone in so long, I guess. They don't want to
I don't think they want to remind anybody that they haven't been in a while.
Wow. All right. Well, let's speak with Matthew Saunders right now.
As we record this next interview, the Knights have split the opening series in league play at Memphis. How does UCF look going into American action? Let's talk with the Central Florida Future's UCF baseball beat writer, Matthew Saunders. Matthew, thanks for joining us again.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Your most recent article is titled Knights Battle Epidemic of Injuries as AAC Play Approaches. Let's first talk about the first half of the season. What are your observations?
Well, Coach Rooney's talked about the injuries. It really has been a long list of injuries, but the good news is getting into AAC play, we've got Matt Diorio back in the lineup. Also got Matthew Micah back in the lineup. They're a big part of the win yesterday at Memphis. So it's good to have them back, but we're still missing Nick McCoy. Brennan Bozeman is out with an injury right now. Logan Heiser, also coming off hip surgery last year, is still working to get back to full strength. So they're working with some injuries, but I think they're in a good place starting AAC play.
When you joined us for a preseason preview, we talked about it looked like Cree Frinfrock was strong on Friday. We had good thoughts about Robbie Howell on Saturday. Robbie gets the win this Saturday, now tied for the national lead in wins. But Frinfrock has just not gotten a lot of run support, and that Friday game is just not a guaranteed victory anymore, is it?
Yeah, it's gotten to the point, where Frinfrock does need to have run support. He's still going out there and thorough and strong, but he needs that run support to get the wins. Robbie Howe, I don't know why he's been getting the run support. I don't know if it's the players, just need to just on Friday and get into Saturday and get the bats going. But Robbie Howe has been outstanding. 1.08 ERA, 6-0, like you guys said, and 7 starts. So he's really been the man eating up the innings. I can't remember the last time he didn't go 7 innings in a game. So he's been the man eating up the innings. For Finfrock, he's gotten some wins. He's been strong, but like I said in my article, we're still looking for that third-day starter on Sunday, on Championship Sunday, and I think that might be Juan Pimentel. He's pitching right now.
Yeah, you talk about that. It seems that every Saturday the pitcher is announced for Sunday as to be announced, and then certainly the midweek games have been pretty much a disaster, haven't they, those Tuesday, Wednesday games? UCF not been strong on the road, and you really have no idea what's going to happen with those starting pitchers on midweek games, and Florida Atlantic comes to UCF, and they're a top-ranked program. So still a lot of question marks as the second half of the season gets underway with the American play.
Yeah, it's all about working with what you have right now. Coach Rooney has talked about the bullpen as something that is the major question and something that they need to figure out. You've seen a lot of appearances by a lot of different guys. Pretty much everybody on the roster and the pitching staff has gotten their chance to throw this season, and he's still trying to figure out who's going to be his guys for those midweek games. Because obviously those conference games are going to be the more important games. So those midweek games, when we're not playing a conference opponent, he's going to have to find some pitchers out of the pen who aren't pitching on normally.
So has your season outlook changed since all this started? From what you thought that was going to be during the, leading up to the season, has your opinion changed at all now?
I think it's pretty much the same. I still think the Knights can be, towards the top of the American, at least the top half. The junior college transfers have really stepped up. Ryan Kryle has really been a great guy. He's batting .336 on the year. And Austin Griffin, obviously, has been the major surprise with his 8 home runs and his 3 grand slams. So there's been guys that have stepped up and, surprises that I didn't think were, going to produce as much as they have. But I still think if the Knights can rally and do well in this conference play, that they could be up towards the top half of the American Conference.
So you're looking at a winning season. Do you think that they'll make the NCAA tournament? Do you think that's within reach, or do you think that that's reaching way too far?
It might be a little bit of a reach. Who knows? But it all depends on how they do in conference play and when the conference tournament arrives. As we know, there's still a lot of questions to be answered, and early on in conference play, we're getting a feel of how the Knights are playing, and I think it might be a little bit of a reach, but it's within grasp that we might be able to make the NCAA tournament.
As we've seen from new athletic director Danny White with the hiring of a new men's basketball coach, a new women's basketball coach, and, of course, the more heralded arrival of the new football coach, there's been a lot of talk about hot seats. Do you think these players on this team at this time are playing for Terry Rooney's job?
I don't think so. I think Terry Rooney's accomplished a whole lot in his years here, and, as long as we're still winning games and there's some things that he can't avoid, like the injuries this year. There's been a real mass of injuries, and he's still got the team in a winning record and position to do well in the conference play. But we'll see. I will have to see how the season plays out. And I'm not Danny White, so I can't really make those decisions. But I don't think he's playing for his job. I think he'll be here.
And as Andrew mentioned, expectations change, from the beginning of the season to now. That question that he'd asked you, what about the American? I mean, it's a pretty strong league, isn't it? One of the top RPI leagues and ranked teams. Every weekend series against an American, home or away, is going to be a tough series for the Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a big series with Houston coming up, and that's going to be away. So, like I said, we've got a very tough road schedule right now coming up. I think we play 7 out of 8 on the road, I'm pretty sure. So, Houston's going to be tough. Tulane, East Carolina. But the American is a very good baseball conference, and I think UCF can, square up with some of those teams, and it's going to be a tough road, and especially away games, having not performed well on the road so far. But we'll see when the American teams come to Jay Bregman Field how the Knights fare.
All righty. Hey, thank you, Matthew, for joining us again, giving us a little bit of some more insight into what's going on there with baseball. We will hope to talk to you again as the season goes on and see where we're at. All right?
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
There are so many ways to connect with the UCF Knightline podcast.
Check out our website at ucfknightlinepodcast.com for recruit spotlights, archived episodes, and more.
You can like us on Facebook at Knightline Podcast.
Talk with us on Twitter at UCF_Knightline.
Listen whenever and wherever you are on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, or TuneIn.
Call us with your questions or comments at 407-205-7427.
Go Knights!
Charge on.
Through 5 in baseball, Andrew, and UCF up 4-0. So possibly poised to take 2 out of 3 in the opening American schedule. The same, however, will not be said of UCF softball.
All right, well, we have another interview to do here now, and with Eric Lopez. We got him on the line, and we're going to talk to him real quick. Crazy weather up in Connecticut. UCF softball canceled by snow.
Softball picked up its first American win at UConn 1-0 on Friday. Now, Saturday's game was postponed because of bad weather. The team scheduled to play 2 on Sunday. Those plans dashed by bad weather. Our man in Connecticut, the voice of UCF softball, Eric Lopez, joins us on the line now. A little cold, windy, and snowy up there, Eric?
Yes, it is. I appreciate you having me on. I get to be Jim Cantori, which is kind of a cool deal there. Yeah,
little weather channel.
Yeah, that's exciting. Very cold. It's in the 30s. We're actually now in Hartford. We left stores. We were scheduled to play this afternoon, as you mentioned. Had snow all morning long, which pretty much took care of the field. So the team practiced indoors facilities. The football team here has an indoor practice facility, so they were kind enough to let us practice in it. And but yeah, there was no softball. There was no baseball. Tulane had a baseball series next door against Connecticut. That also got canceled. So cold, windy, but everybody's doing good otherwise, though.
So you and I are friends on Facebook, and you posted, some pictures of snow and all that, and you said that. Now, have you never seen snow before, being from Florida down here?
That's correct. It's the first time for me, so I've been a bit of a mark this week. I've been acting like in shock, really, because I've never seen snow before. So this morning was kind of unique. A lot of the girls on the team, obviously, being from Florida, have not seen snow either. So they were kind of excited when they saw the snow, believe it or not. And they kind of took it in, and it's a kind of a new experience, and it's something that a lot of them won't forget, because it's the first time they've seen snow. So, it's a good bonding team that they're kind of close together anyway, but they surely bonded on them. But yeah,
was there
first time I've seen snow.
Was there a snowball fight or anything like that? A little playful, anybody playing, making snow angels or anything like that today?
Oh, yeah, that was, the snowman. I mean, that's the go-to move, right? They made a snowman out of it. So, they worked on that, and they had some fun with each other, and you got to kill time. Unfortunately, with the schedule the way it's been this weekend, you got to kind of be creative on your own. And unfortunately, we only got one game in this weekend. We're supposed to play Saturday, and that pushed back due to rain. It rained all day here in Connecticut on Saturday, so the team was forced to. We went to Dave and Buster's to watch the men's Final Four, and then we got it made up to Sunday, but then the snow came, and that was that. So. We're make the most out of it, and you just kind of move forward and plug along. And as Bill Belichick like to say, on to Florida now.
How many UCF softball games have ever been canceled by snow?
Oh, good question.
I've been trying to figure that out. It's hard to say, because a lot of times in the past, they just call games called due to inclement weather or stuff. But I can tell you, I've been broadcasting since 2007. This is a first for me, that snow is involved as far as the reason for not playing. We've had plenty of rainouts before. This is, believe it or not the coldest that UCF's ever played in. They played in much colder conditions. They played in the 20s in one year in Georgia, believe it or not, of all places. So, but to my recollection, that I can recall, this is probably the first quote-unquote snow out, if you will.
So what happens now with the American schedule with those 2 games on the road dashed? Are they just canceled now for the season?
Yeah, they're canceled. They're not going to be able to be made up. And, this is not the first time this has happened to UCF. 2 years ago, UCF went to Philadelphia right around this same weekend, played Temple. Temple at the time had softball, and all 3 games got washed out. And this is kind of an issue with the conference, and you wonder, and not just a softball issue, but I mentioned earlier with Connecticut and Tulane in baseball, they were actually able to get 2 games in with their facilities, and they have lighting. See, softball doesn't have lighting on their stadium, so we had you couldn't make up the games later anyway. But you wonder if the conference, with schools like Connecticut, why not try to start them on the road earlier in the season, maybe the first multiple weeks, and back in the home schedule? The problem is, teams like Connecticut would probably argue, like, why should we start the year with 2 or 3 straight series on the road? They try to make it 1 home, 1 road, but you're going to run into problems like this. UCF had this problem 2 years ago against Temple, as I mentioned. I think South Florida had this issue with Connecticut last year. But good news for Knight fans is 2 years ago they got 3 games washed out, and they still won the American Conference. What it means now is the conference will be decided by win percentage. That's going to be the big factor now.
UCF now 24-13 on the season, 1-0 in the American. Friday, a 1-0 victory at UConn. That was head coach Renee Lures-Gillespie's 800th career victory, 548 of those with the Knights. Talk about the team as they head into the American slate. And where you think they are and what their chances are of winning the American.
Well, they're right up there. What I'll say is the league this year is a lot better, and I think there's 2 legitimate threats, Tulsa and South Florida. Tulsa actually comes to Orlando this upcoming weekend. That's a huge series. I think this year, guys, we talked last year and how the league was only a 1-bid league. This year, I think it's going to end up being a 3-bid league for the NCAA tournament. And I think Tulsa and South Florida. And the South Florida, keep in mind, UCF softball goes to South Florida the same weekend that baseball does, the weekend of, I believe it's April 30th through May 1st. So, look, the team, it's kind of been a tricky couple of weeks because the Mother Nature's kind of played havoc with the Knights. They had the game against Florida State at home, washed out on Tuesday. They had the conference bye weekend before that. So this team's only played 1 game going into the number 1 ranked Florida on Wednesday in the last couple of weeks. So they've had a lot of rest, but certainly you wish you get a lot more game reps in, if you will. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get that together. But obviously pitching's going to carry them. Shelby Turnier, who picked up her 70th career win on Friday, moving into one of 3 UCF pitchers of all time. They have 70 wins. They're going to be carried with that. And, they've kind of been scuffling a bit at the plate, but still a lot of time to go. They have the experience. They've been through this before, and I think that'll carry them through conference play, because there's nothing that's going to occur in conference play that they haven't seen before throughout their careers. This is pretty much a veteran team that's seen it all.
Rain and snow dashed the weekend final 2 games in Connecticut, but for you, an opportunity to cover some games on the road this year. You'll be hitting the road for a couple more series, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going with them the rest of the way. I'll be going up to Houston in a couple of weeks. So when they take on Houston, and obviously the Tampa series, I'll do 2 of those 3 games against USF. There's one of them is going to be on ESPNU, the May 1st game, and then obviously the conference tournament this year will be at Tulsa, and I'll be actually working that for the conference. So that'll be a fun deal there for people to follow. So, yeah, I mean, through the tracks. But, right now the next step is Wednesday night, guys, big one. Expected sellout crowd. The number 1 ranked team and the 2-time defending national champion, Florida Gators, come into town. So this is a very intriguing week with Florida at home. And then you got Tulsa, as I mentioned, a legitimate threat Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So very high level of college softball this weekend, and the girls will be, and they're up for it. They're getting ready for it. And it should be interesting week, to say the least.
Eric, where can people hear your call of these games?
Well, you can tune in on UCFKnights.com. The home games, you can watch them on UCFKnights.com. They have all the details online there. And the audio on the road is free, and that should be fun. And just keep all the news. Of course, follow me on Twitter and Eric Lopezio for any of the latest tidbits, if you will.
All right, hey man, thank you so much for joining us on short notice. I really wanted to talk to you about the snow. I think that's.
And next time you go on one of these road trips, pack a coat, okay? No short sleeves and shorts. Come on now.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you we did. By the way, we could tell you we drove by the football stadium where obviously UCF Scott Frost and company will be at in the fall there, which is kind of like close to Hartford. It's far away from the campus.
How far away?
Which I did not,
How far away is it?
About 20 minutes. About 20 minutes away from the campus, actually.
So like when UCF played at the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, that's a great point, Trace. That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, people that have gone up to the road games already knew that, but yeah, it's you have the basketball arena and the baseball and the softball right there on campus, but yeah, the football stadium's a little bit away, more towards the Hartford area. Certainly, I can tell you in talking to people up here that they're excited about their team, and ticket sales are up for football, and they think they'll have a good crowds this year for their home games and close to sellout. So they're very excited about their football team, and of course their basketball programs speak for themselves. Has been the talk as well. So but it's been fun. I mean, wish we could have gotten more games in, and certainly wish that it'd be a lot warmer. We will certainly be very happy, when we're back in Orlando in 70, 80 degree weather.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, man. Have safe travels for you and the team getting back.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the support, and we'll talk to you down the road.
And now, news and notes from the world of UCF sports. Women's golf in 12th as Sunday's final round gets underway at the Bryan National Collegiate in North Carolina. Up next, the American Championship in Palm Coast, Florida begins April 17th.
Strong showing for rowing at the Oregon State Classic. Up next, UCF is at the Clemson Invite starting April 16th.
Track and field combined for 3 individual event titles and 1 relay championship in 2 stacked meets at the Pepsi Florida Relays and Stanford Invitational. Up next, UCF returns home for a dual meet against Illinois on April 9th.
Men's golf tied for 12th, just like women's golf. This one at Sunday's final round and getting underway at the Augusta Invitational in Georgia.
Sophomore men's golfer Manuel Elvira is the American Men's Golfer of the Week.
Women's tennis 4-0 over UAB. Knights now 11-6 on the season. Up next, the regular season finale against Stetson at the UCF Tennis Complex, April 6th.
Volleyball beats the Cows over in Tampa as the spring schedule continues. Up next, April 16th against Florida Southern in Lakeland.
Doesn't matter what sport, doesn't matter what season, doesn't matter what time. Beating the Cows, always good.
It's always a good thing. Wow, that's pretty amazing. We just did that without stopping. We normally, if no one understands that we stop and start and stop and start, I'm very proud of that. I did, have a couple little flubs in there, but, wow.
It was also profanity-free.
That's not very normal around here either. You guys don't hear it, but if you could only hear my potty mouth, I'm glad that y'all don't. But, it could be entertaining. I don't know. But I try to keep it as mellow as I can during this kind of thing. Anyway, I think that is going to do it for episode number 72. We will be back the 17th, April 17th, after the spring game. We'll figure out if we're going to do that live or not. So, I'm Andrew Phegley.
I'm Trace Trylko. Go Knights!
Charge on.
Charge on to the field. With our spirits, we'll never yield. Black and gold charge right through the line. Victory is our cry. B-S-E-T-O-R-Y. Tonight our knights will shine.